that same level of prioritization being offered to saying, hey, how can we prevent a swath of young people in this next generation that's coming up from falling into the same pitfalls that we've just seen in our past cohort of young folks that have gone from early childhood into their teens and then into early adulthood. How can we prevent some of these problems? It will come when we start to say, this is what we want to do as a collective community, as a collective group. We want to see these problems stop, and we're ready to say if we need to take away from certain priorities that we're focusing on now to lend resources, supports, and a dedicated effort to changing that, there's where we'll start to see the change. Until we take that society-wide attitude, I don't really know we're going to see much improvement beyond the efforts that are being done with organizations like reachAbility and other nonprofit grassroots community-based organizations that are dedicated to trying to help improve the quality of life.
Right. So although we've spent some time on the preventative piece, and it's really the key piece, we both have been around long enough to know that desire does not always make it happen. And in the meantime, I guess now we need to be focusing as well on they were in conflict with the law, now perhaps that piece is done, but we're in a sort of a rehab stage, right, in terms of re-entering the community and maybe identifying now that which would have been ideal to identify quite a long time ago. It wasn't, but now that's where you come in and people like me come in, is usually after the fact, and we're trying to essentially step back and try to regroup and provide that these clients what they didn't get before and would have been ideal. But now when I come back from break, if you don't mind, Shingai, I would like to talk about some of the work you're doing for some of those youth who have already been in conflict with the law and some of the successes and some of the challenges you've been facing doing that. This is Tova Sherman, host of Inclusion Revolution, hoping you're going to be right back with us for this very important discussion around youth in conflict with the law. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back to Inclusion Revolution. I'm still your host, Tova Sherman, here on Eastlink TV, having a discussion with my good friend Shingai on youth in conflict with the law. And although we've spent a great deal of our time to date talking about the prevention, the reality is that usually when Shingai or I start to meet these youth, it's after the fact.
That's right.
And as a result, we're talking almost more about rehabilitation and an opportunity to provide those supports that ultimately were not provided when they were most needed. But that doesn't mean we say we give up. So Shingai, tell me some of the preventative approaches you've been taking in your work with youth in conflict with the law.
Okay. Well, Tova, as we discussed over the break, once somebody has gone through the rigmarole of the justice system and they've come out of the other end, usually not for the better, we try to address some of the immediate issues as they present. For most people, it's a sense of identity. So there's a lot of issues in terms of the values and some of the beliefs that I've gained going through this, the attitudes that I've adopted going through this have shaped a character. So sometimes you have to start almost at the ground level and identify belief structure and values and start to challenge some of these notions.
And really identify, in my opinion, their own value. Because one of the things that I've seen over and over again is that lack of self-worth, that belief that if that happened to me on some level, maybe I deserved it because I am a freak or something like that. And I know that I live with ADHD, and I had a few brushes as a youth because we're rather impulsive by nature. And I always didn't quite get what it all meant until it was too late, which is again one of those common realities when you live with ADHD. And so yes, I experienced that conflict, but if someone had identified for me much earlier on, I think that it would have been a very different experience for me, both in school and after school.
right.
But here we are in a real world. And so I need you to help me understand some of the things that we are going to do. And I say we because I'm committed, you're committed, to support youth who have been in conflict with the law, who do live with disability, in finding their own self-worth and their own self-awareness so they can move forward as productive members of our community, which is what they should have been in the first place.
We have to look at offering the continuing educational supports, wherever they may have left off at the point where they rested their life from,
whether it's high school diplomas or whatever.
GED equivalent. The adult learning programs are prevalent throughout the province, so there's a lot of different opportunities to pick up there. Also, we have to identify opportunities, employment-based opportunities especially. There has to be some support around career identification and looking at what interests this person may have. There's no sense in saying to somebody who is involved in crime that may have stemmed from an inability to process information because of a cognitive disability, that hey, we're going to put you into a job that means absolutely nothing to you. You're not going to get a return that's going to be meaningful for you, and then expect them to now
and
continue on with best of luck. It's just not realistic. So we have to start again from the bottom up and start from the values system of the individual has, look at the attitudes and the beliefs that the person embodies, and then from there try to incorporate some more healthy and positive approaches into the life that will address issues around education, issues around employment, and issues around self-identity and ultimately self-empowerment.
Well, I'm a big fan of cognitive behavioral therapy, especially around mental health consumers, and that's certainly been a large group of people that both of us have been dealing with. And I really have a belief that if we could provide cognitive behavioral therapy, changing the way people respond to those issues and changing their self-worth, again, improving that self-worth and awareness in dealing with potentially conflict situations, or just having to say, I have value. I think we almost always have to start there. And one of the things I was interested in that you're doing, Shingai, is you're really going out to the community now, and you're trying to provide some of that awareness of self-value, dealing with conflict, some of those basic skills that have probably never been properly provided in a way that those particular young people can really get it and own it.
Tova, you're on the money with that. What we're trying to do with the One Step Closer program, project, with reachAbility, is taking it in community and delivering different areas of employment support, addressing issues that translate into barriers to employment. So, we could look at issues around workplace ethics, exposure to employer expectations, also areas around self-esteem and confidence building. Self-efficacy is a major stumbling block for some people.
Also, I know you do this out. So in other words, you're not waiting for everyone to come to you downtown.
That's right.
You're actually taking this on the road and going into the communities where there are people who most need it but aren't necessarily going to go to Halifax or downtown. And so I really appreciate that element of it, and I'm really glad we've had a chance to chat. But I have to move to my poll, but it does relate to our discussion today. In fact, the news episode today is really news that we received from the Public Legal Education and Information Service of New Brunswick. In fact, they list the following skills training that will help youth from reoffending. Let's see how we do. I won't make you guess. Cognitive skills training, values training, boy, you sound like you wrote this, social skills training, life skills training, educational and pre-employment and job training, and of course psychological and educational counseling and training. And that makes a lot of sense, and it really is, boy, I'll tell you again, you could have written this one, Shingai. So our poll this week is, do you think provincial governments should increase funding for youth training and youth educational programs? Now go to inclusionrevolution.com to air your opinion, read the rest of the news, and that's really all the time we have this week. So for Shingai and for me, Tova Sherman, your host of Inclusion Revolution, I look forward to seeing you next week, and until then, you take care of yourself and your family. See you soon.